Welcome back to the Citizen channel. You're all staying safe and well. I'm one of our History Boys features today, and I'm going to take you back to the 10th of April, 1991. The Barclays League Division 1. Yeah, we're doing okay actually at the time. Interesting times, of course. I'm going to take you back to a game at Elland Road. Yes, Leeds United versus Manchester City. Howard Wilkinson was in charge at Leeds. They had a certain captain called Gordon Strachan, who we know very, very well, of course. And as far as City was concerned, of course, Peter Reid was only months into his player-manager role after the absence or desertion or whatever you want to call it of a certain Mr. Kendall the previous, I think about Octoberish, I think, in the previous year. We sat nicely in sixth. We were okay. Not playing the greatest football, relying on certain players and mainly our defence to get us through games. But we sat sixth, just 3 points behind Manchester United with a game in hand, so that wasn't too bad. And Leeds were having a great season after returning as well to the top flight, sitting fourth, 6 points above City, and also played a game less, so they're doing very, very well. So this wasn't certainly going to be easy. Say Leeds were on the start of a run that would see glory, of course, within the next 13 months for them, but a little bit more on that later on. Well, yeah, the FA had suddenly announced, away from this City game, had announced on the 8th of April, so quite close to this game, that the plans for a new Super League of 18 clubs to replace this first Football League First Division, of course, as the highest division in English football. And the move, as you'd expect, was attacked by many people, including smaller football clubs, of course, who feared that they could go out of business if TV revenue was confined to the proposed Super League. I wonder how that went on, but we're still there. We're still there now, aren't we? Away from football totally. On the 16th of April, so a few days later, British television premiere of one of my favourite films, Monty Python's Life of Brian, which was shown as part of Channel 4's banned season. Yeah, they were showing all these things that had been previously banned, so that was good for people like me who like the films and TV. 20th of April, so only 10 days away, the sports channel became something called Sky Sports. We've never forgiven them for that, have we? 29th of April, interesting edition. One of my favourite characters from many, I assume many people's favourite guys. Terry Wogan, he had a chat show. And yes, there was howls of laughter from his audience on the 29th of April on one edition of his show as a public speaker who could play football a little bit, I believe, as well, called David Icke, claimed that he was the son of God. Or going back to the Monty Python, perhaps he was just a very, very naughty boy. But hey, unless you know Monty Python, you won't know that. You won't know what I'm talking about there. The one and only by Chesney Hawkes. Yes, I am the one and only was a UK number one. I know you hate this bit when I burst into song. You ever know the songs that is? He was there for 5 weeks, Chesney Hawkes, with I am the one and only. And the Eurythmics, yeah. Sweet dreams are made up. I think that's Eurythmics, isn't it? I might get it totally wrong, guys, but forgive me if I have. Top the album charts. Eurythmics top the album charts with their Greatest Hits album. And it stayed there for 9 weeks. Yeah, I mean, albums and records used to stay on top of the charts for quite a long time in those days. It was quite exciting. You know, they had to sell in certain shops, etc., etc. So it was all good. If you like the cinema like me, you'd probably gone along to watch Terminator 2, Judgment Day, which was the biggie of the year in 1991. And if you put that proverbial pound note, I think probably still there. I have no idea. I lose track, guys. But if you put that proverbial pound under your pillar or in a jar, it'd be worth the princely sum of £1.98 today. So not a lot in it. Right, back to football, guys. Let's talk about what we're talking about and the Leeds. The Leeds game, of course. A match day programme. There'll be images appearing, of course, during this vlog. Cost £1 for 32 pages. It seems a bit mean these days, but that was par for the course. Nothing changing there. And as well, of course, as closing the gap on Leeds, which is what we wanted to do, being the priority. We did also want to avenge a 3-2 defeat back in November at Main Road. So, you know, we didn't want them to do the double over us, did we? And after a stuttering run in mid to late March, City had won their last 2 games 3-1 away at Palace and home to Forest. Leeds had won their last 3, 2 away at Chelsea and Wimbledon, and a 5-0 home thrashing of visitors Sunderland. So both teams and fans were confident, perhaps not so much City fans as the Leeds fans, because we knew what City were like. We're still typical City then. But it was Leeds who were clearly favourites to win this. And it was City's defence, Tony Colton in particular, who kept City perhaps in the top six over the last few games. He'd been putting in some outstanding performances, winning a few man of the matches, etc. So although we were sat comfortably in sixth, it mainly been due to our defensive efforts, and it was to continue in this one as well. The 3-1 recent victory against Forest at Main Road before this game mainly was attributed to Colton, as Forest could not believe they'd left Main Road empty-handed, because they totally dominated, not totally dominated, but certainly dominated City that day, that's for sure. The City lineup for this Leeds game: Tony Colton, Ian Brightwell, Neil Poynton, Andy Hill, Adrian Heath, Steve Redmond, David White, Mark Brennan, Niall Quinn, Alan Harper and Mark Ward. And the subs who weren't used were Clive Allen and Michael Hughes. And of course, we played in the equivalent of a waist strip of this top, wasn't it? The wonderful maroon kit, which I do have a child's version, but mine, I think mine's got lost somewhere in the ether, guys. I've lost so many kits over the years in house moves, etc. Very disappointed, but what can you do? A crowd of 28,757 were at Elland Road. A fair sprinkling of City fans there. There's actually some YouTube footage of the goals, and you do get a glimpse of the City fans. And you will, obviously, I'll put a link on the screen of that one as well. So yeah, Peter, so what I'm going to do, did a scrapbook at the time. I did about 5 seasons of scrapbook between in the early 90s to the mid 90s. So we're going to go over to Mr. Peter Gardner. Yeah, his match report for the Manchester Evening News on this match, which ended Leeds United 1, Manchester City 2. The headline for his column: Redmond and Colton earn a blue salute. So again, the defence pulling us out of all sorts of things there. So let's go over to Peter Gardner's little match report for the Manchester Evening News. Manchester City maintain a remarkable ability to succeed when they are at least expected to. The Blues halted Leeds' confident charge towards a European qualifying place with a superbly organised smash-and-grab operation. The outcome was an unlikely victory that leaves the Blues on course for a top 6 place in their most elevated position in 13 years. Yet it is becoming increasingly difficult to explain how a side as ordinary, tell it as it is, Peter, as City can win when clearly outplayed. They had Tony Colton to thank for a weekend victory over Nottingham Forest. Last night, the keeper again proved a significant reason why they survived to clinch a 3rd successive victory. However, even greater was the performance of Steve Redmond, who never put a foot wrong in achieving the supreme accolade of a 10 out of 10 performance. No one can get a 10 out of 10 unless it's Sergio 93-20. That's my only 10 out of 10, just for that goal. He was rubbish the rest of the game. Redmond, in harness with the equally dependable Ian Brightwell, magnificently curbed the Leeds scoring machine. Credit must go to Andy Hill for a highly promising right-back display. Could do with him, couldn't we, at this point in time, as I'm recording this. He climaxed with a clinically taken goal that gives City the lead, although much against the run of play. Mark Brennan, whose natural left-sided approach has given the team better balance, floated over an in-swinging corner that enabled Niall Quinn to flick on for Hill to score. Quinn turned from goal provider to goal taker at 11 minutes from the end when he headed his 19th goal of a quite remarkable season to leave Leeds totally dumbstruck and deflated. Colton, as early as the 8th minute, had demonstrated he was again in the mood with a flying leap to keep out a fiercely driven Carl Schutt shot. Gary McAllister drove narrowly over the bar and was then stopped dead in his tracks when Redmond put in one of his many magnificent tackles. Hill's strike took a sting out of Leeds' effort, but 6 minutes from half-time, Chapman was on the end of a Mel Sterling cross for a header. Colton again scooped out. Unfortunately, the ball broke loose to the left. Gary Speed pulled it back, leaving McAllister with a simple tap-in and the chance for the equaliser. So some names for Leeds here as well, isn't there, guys? Speed shot over. Andy Williams beat the offside trap, only to finish tamely, and Chapman headed wide as Leeds attempted to stretch their own winning sequence to 4 on the trot. But this was a night when City were unyielding and a night when Quinn was once more to have the final decisive say. So there you go, Peter Gardner's player ratings on the night. His form guide from the Evening News. Colton got a 9, Brightwell got a 9, Poynton got an 8, Hill got an 8. Mr. Heath only got a 6. He was a joint lowest scorer, Mr. Heath. Redmond a 10, as he said. White a 7, Brennan an 8. Quinn an 8. Again, Harper got a 6. Again, the lowest with Mr. Heath. And Ward got a 7. And the subs, Allen and Hughes, didn't play. Referee was a guy called Terry Holbrook from Walsall. Peter Gardner gave him a 7 out of 10. No referees worth 7 out of 10. And the goals, of course, Hill 27 minutes and Quinn on 79 for City, and McAllister on 39 minutes for Leeds. And Mr. Brightwell was the only player to get booked. Man of the match for Mr. Peter Gardner, Steve Redmond never put a foot wrong as he and Ian Brightwell tamed the Leeds attack. And a final word before we leave the match report and sum up this History Boys feature. Reid's final word, so we go over to the manager who makes his comments known. Any team that goes to Elland Road and pulls off that sort of result has obviously put up a good performance, and naturally I was delighted. Considering all the injury problems we have endured in recent weeks, it was a great all-round display from us. Now Quinn made the first goal and scored the winner himself, while at the other end Tony Coton again made some excellent saves. Our central defenders handled the threats of Lee Chapman. I was also pleased with the way Andy Hill came in to crown a fine game with a goal. I'm hoping to be back following injury. He did, of course, didn't play Peter Reid, did he? I'm hoping to be back following injury next week, but if the lads keep playing like this, I might struggle to get my place. But I was delighted with the whole team, because not many teams come away from Elland Road with 3 points under their belts. Well said, Peter. It was a very good, as I say, all right, bit of a smash and grab, but it was a very good victory for City. And of course, that took City onto the same points as our rivals, the other United, the probably slightly more famous United, unfortunately. But we were below them on goal difference. United had actually had a point deducted for disciplinary problems. Shocking in those days. And we were within 3 points of Leeds, of course, after winning that. And we'd all played 33 games, so it looked pretty good. Of course, City would eventually overhaul United. As far as the league table was concerned, we finished 5th, and United finished 6th, 3 points behind. So they couldn't even use the 1 point deduction as a reason that we finished above them. So that was all good. And Leeds would gain a solid 4th spot and stay in 4th. And they would, of course, use this as a stepping stone. We mentioned it earlier, to claim the very first division title. Well, obviously things were changing on that score, but the first division title the following season, 91-92, of course. So they won the title, beating the other United to it. So perhaps Leeds were the more famous United at this stage. We'll give them that credit. So there you go, guys. Thanks for joining me for this History Boys feature. Leeds United 1, Manchester City 2, Wednesday the 10th of April 1991. In the then Barclays League Division 1, all that was to change, of course. If you were there that night, let me know your memories. If you were there in that crowd last night, let me know your thoughts, any memories you've got of the game, the kits, the great kits, the maroon kit. I love the maroon kit. We've got to get maroon back. It's one of my favourite colours. There's a second kit up there with the red and black stripes. So let us know your memories, guys, and hopefully I've sort of relived a few for you as well by doing this little History Boys blog. Thanks for joining me. All your comments, very, very welcome. Until we meet again, and that's one thing, don't I? Please stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Thanks for watching.